This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
Thank you for listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast, where we discuss all of the news in the world of sports. As always, my name is Ben.
And I'm Pauline.
We are back here on a Monday, unfortunately, a Monday for you guys. Not the greatest of things. Getting back in my grind now, going back to school, starting today. So
Aww, good.
Had a nice little break, nice little month off, but now I get to juggle one more thing in my busy schedule, so looking forward to it, not looking forward to it at the same time, but
You'll be done soon.
Yeah, nevertheless, I will be done soon.
Mm-hmm.
It'll go by super fast. It already has gone by fast. And I'm almost on the downward stretch, you know what I mean? So
Aww.
definitely looking forward to it. But anyways, we are back here on a Monday. Happy Monday to you guys. Hope you had a great weekend. A couple of teams in the NFL had a great weekend. The others, not so much.
Right.
We've been talking about it recently, how this postseason has really been kind of disappointing. A couple of good games. The Dallas Green Bay one in particular. Last week, Kansas City and Pittsburgh went down to the wire. But for the most part, other than that, we've had just blowout city.
Right.
We've had 10 playoff games, including the games yesterday. Now you can say 8 of them have been blowouts because the 2 games yesterday were blowouts as well. The Atlanta Falcons absolutely cruise against Green Bay, and the New England Patriots batter the Steelers.
Yes. Yeah, that was
we'll just get right into it. We'll talk about this Green Bay-Atlanta game first off. The Falcons win it 44-21. Game was over, in my eyes, before it really started. Atlanta just absolutely dominated them. They were up 31-0 at one point. They're up 24-0 at the half. Matt Ryan, a fantastic day. 27 of 38, 392 yards, and 4 touchdowns. He also added a touchdown on the ground. So 5 total touchdowns, over 400 yards.
Fun game for him.
I mean,
like he was
it was like he was literally playing without a defense there.
Right, yes. Just able to do whatever he wanted.
Right from the get-go of the game, it was all Atlanta. So Green Bay wins the toss, and they defer. A lot of teams do that. I understand the mindset behind it. It's probably the better thing to do. But for me, personally, in this game, I would have taken the ball right away. Because you have Green Bay with the 31st worst pass defense, so second to last in pass defense.
Right.
You're on the road. Your team is already injured as it is. You're
they're pretty banged up
at cornerback. So you're playing the hottest team at home, averaging 35 points. Their last game ever in the Georgia Dome. Matt Ryan, who's going to be the MVP. Julio Jones, Devontae Freeman, Tevin Coleman. You're juggling all these things. Terrible defense. And you look on the other side, you have Aaron Rodgers, who's playing the quarterback position about as good as anyone we've ever seen during their 8-game winning streak. So why am I going to not put him on the field right away?
Right away. To try to get that jump start.
It just didn't make any sense to me. I'm not going to say that's the reason they lost the game, because when I look at this game, the Packers did everything wrong. It was one of those games where literally nothing goes your way.
Right,
like,
nothing,
loose balls. The Packers had a chance to get a couple of turnovers. Had interceptions in their hands, and they dropped the ball. They had a fumble where Taylor Gabriel runs across like a jet sweep, runs literally right in front of Matt Ryan, so when the ball gets snapped, it bounces off of him. Jake Ryan has it in his hands, and then it comes out, so the Falcons recover. It would have been a whole totally different game. The Packers go down 7-0. They go down length of the field. Mason Crosby misses a field goal after everything he did last week for them. He, of course, misses a 41-yard field goal. And then the Atlanta Falcons get a field goal to go up 10-0. And then the Packers are driving. They're in the red zone, and Aaron Ripkowski breaks a nice run, a 10-yard run. Then he fumbles on the 5-yard line, which goes into the end zone. So the Green Bay Packers missed out on another opportunity there. Aaron Rodgers throws an interception before halftime. Atlanta scores to make it 24-0. And then from that point on, the
It's
game's
just,
over.
yeah. It wasn't just a loss. It was like a terrible loss. I mean, every loss is terrible.
Exactly. Like
but
everything,
how you lose can kind of
like literally
be worse.
Nothing went their way. Like it was just one of those days where literally
you just could not buy.
Nothing goes your way.
Right.
The Atlanta defense, I thought, did a decent job against Rodgers. He put up good numbers. A lot of it in garbage time. 287, 3 touchdowns. He did have 1 interception. He was sacked a couple of times.
Right.
But the Atlanta Falcons did a good job in my eyes of just bringing pressure. A lot of times they blitzed, made Rodgers have to make some quicker throws than he probably would have wanted to. I was really surprised to see Jordy Nelson even active for this game. He was wearing basically like a military-grade Kevlar vest, and you could tell when you were watching the game, he was like 20 pounds heavier because he had like this huge flak jacket to protect his ribs. And he didn't really seem to have any effects of it. He had a pretty good game. 6 catches, 67 yards, 1 touchdown. A couple of them on that first drive, so he really made an impact right away.
Right.
The biggest day for Atlanta was Julio Jones. We
of
talked
course,
about Julio Jones against Ladarius Gunter last week. Ladarius Gunter against Dez Bryant last week and how he really ate him up for lunch. And I told you last week, I was like, if they put Ladarius Gunter against Julio Jones, it's going to be a very, very
we
long
did talk
day.
about that. Mm-hmm.
And what did Green Bay do? They put Ladarius Gunter one-on-one against Julio Jones, and he literally
enjoyed every moment of it.
He was licking his chops.
Yes, he was like, exactly what I wanted.
He was at the all-you-can-eat buffet, and he ate him up. Julio Jones, 9 catches, 180 yards, and 2 touchdowns, one of them coming on a 73-yard basically catch and run where he broke like 3 tackles. He stiff-armed a guy. Like it was just probably one of the
They were
worst,
having fun. They were just having fun.
Tackling jobs I've seen. But yeah, Atlanta absolutely cruises 44-21, and they advance Super Bowl 51, their second Super Bowl in franchise history.
I know.
Obviously, for a lot of these guys, it'll be Super Bowl number 1. About the only guy I can really think of that has Super Bowl experience on this team is Dwight Freeney from his time with the Colts.
Okay, yeah.
Other than that, I'm not 100% sure, but a lot of these guys are super young, and really anyone, with the exceptions of maybe Freeney, that's going to make an impact. Matt Ryan, Freeman and Coleman, Julio Jones, Mohamed Sanu, Vic Beasley, all these guys are just
new territory for him.
Younger in the league.
Right.
So congratulations to the Atlanta Falcons. They move on to Super Bowl 51, and they will be taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Of course it would be New England, right? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's okay.
They will be taking on the New England Patriots. It had to be Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, right? They will
right, I was going to say, seventh appearance.
Super Bowl as a player for Brady, 7th Super Bowl as a coach for Belichick. Both of those are the most all-time of any coach, of any player. They were previously tied at 6, so now they'll be moving on.
Which is kind of cool,
I mean, okay, I don't want to say
a 2 clap for him, 1, 2, You got
to respect.
Exactly.
Give respect for New England, okay?
Right.
But me, I'm just a little tired of New England.
Yeah, I was gonna say Brady all the time.
Like I'm rooting for Atlanta in the Super Bowl for a few reasons. Number 1, they knocked out my team, so I hope they do good. They killed the Packers, which is my team.
Right.
And I'm just kind of tired of Brady and Belichick.
Yeah, and it'll be cool. Well, and it's been with Atlanta, just for like the city of Atlanta, they don't really get the opportunity to go deep in the postseason with their sports team. So this is going to be exciting for them. Like their celebration at the end of the game was so fun to watch. They were just so excited. Like everyone in Atlanta was excited after that game. And I agree with you with the whole Tom Brady there. It seems like every Super Bowl, it's like, oh, of course. So
yeah, they'll be making their 7th appearance, 9th overall as a franchise, which is the most all time as well. But so
there's a lot of records with that too, and that's cool. But I don't know. I like it when the underdog kind of gets it.
You talked about Atlanta. They're obviously closing the Georgia Dome yesterday, the last game in the Georgia Dome, which they've been there for the past 25 years. So definitely an emotional and a historic moment as well.
Right.
So I'm going for Atlanta in the Super Bowl. They will be taking on the New England Patriots, of course. Tom Brady. I mean, he had it going on yesterday. You got to admit, he had it from start to finish. Brady finishes 32 of 42, 384 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And his top target of the day is someone you probably wouldn't have thought.
Right.
He had literally, here's the irony here. Chris Hogan, He was the top receiver for the Patriots. He had literally the exact same stat line as Julio Jones. 9 catches, 180 yards, and 2 touchdowns. This guy was a lacrosse player in college. He spent 3 years with the Buffalo Bills. The Patriots put in an offer for him that the Bills don't match, so he's basically an outcast on the Buffalo Bills team. Now he's leading the team in receiving in the AFC Championship game and putting up the same numbers as Julio Jones, who's one of the best in the league.
Anything is possible.
I mean, this is New England,
but yeah,
right?
yeah.
This is typical Patriots.
Right.
They get production out of literally anyone.
Yes.
Chris Hogan. Julian Edelman chipped in as well. He had a really nice game. 8 catches, 118 yards, and 1 touchdown. But for me, it was the Steelers. The Patriots really had a solid game plan as far as trying to guard these killer bees with Bell, Brown, and Roethlisberger. But Le'Veon Bell did get injured in the first quarter, which was a huge, huge loss.
Right.
He did have to leave the game with a groin injury. He was basically checking in and out the whole rest of the game and wasn't really able to do much. He only had 6 carries for 20 yards. And for me, the big injury with Le'Veon Bell is the passing game because he's definitely one of the best receiving backs out of the backfield. And when you don't have that element in there, that's basically one less target and one less option
for them
that Ben Roethlisberger,
that they were counting on too.
That Ben Roethlisberger can throw to. He threw for 314 yards. He did have 1 touchdown and 1 interception. But I think Le'Veon Bell does not make up 19 points because they lost by 19.
Yeah,
but it changed a lot of their game plan, especially since he got injured really early. He got injured in the first quarter. So it changed a lot of what the Steelers wanted to do. But for me, it was still going to be New England. That Le'Veon Bell is not accountable for 19 points as a sole, simple guy. He just didn't really make up for that. The Steelers just really couldn't get things going on offense. A couple of turnovers early, and the Patriots kind of ran away with it. They were up 36-9 at one point before Pittsburgh started coming back. Antonio Brown with this whole Facebook Live incident, he seemed to have an okay game. 7 catches, 77 yards. So, I mean, he didn't do too bad, but, I mean, it was really just New England on offense, especially. Chris Hogan, I mean, there was times where he was so wide open. I don't think there was I don't think there was a Pittsburgh Steelers person even in the same area code as that guy because Brady was just standing out there with all day. The offensive line did fantastic, gave him a lot of time to throw the ball, did a good job of protecting him. And the Steelers have the most sacks in the NFL since Week 10 or Week 11, so they've been able to bring some pressure, but not yesterday. New England just absolutely got it done. So now you have the Patriots against the Falcons in the Super Bowl.
Right.
We have 2 weeks to basically get ready for the game. Well, 13 days, but so we have practically 2 weeks to get ready for the game now. You have the number 1 scoring offense in Atlanta against the number 1 scoring defense in New England. Although, for me, their defense is definitely kind of overrated. They played a really, really easy schedule, so I think that had something to do with it. But their defense is still really good. You saw that effect they had yesterday on the Steelers really limited them. So it's going to be a very interesting 2 weeks when you build up. You have Brady with 7 Super Bowl appearances now. Matt Ryan hasn't even won 7 playoff games. Yeah. So Brady's been in more Super Bowls
definitely,
than Matt Ryan's even won games in the playoffs.
Right. So a much more experience as far as that's concerned.
And for me, I looked at some sort of previews yesterday. I looked at the spread, which is something I really do pay attention to a lot of the times. And the Steelers, I keep saying the Steelers, the Patriots, they only opened as a 3-point favorite against the Falcons, something I was kind of surprised at. I figured it would have been a lot more. I was thinking maybe 5.5, 6.5, which really means like 6 or 7. Because the experience is definitely there for New England.
Exactly.
You have Brady, and then you have Atlanta, good offense, but it seems like when you have these top offenses versus top defense matchups, the defense seems to always prevail.
Right.
Think about the Seahawks against the Broncos a couple of years ago, 48-3. So it seems like the defense seems to always propel over the offense, but I think Atlanta's offense is just totally different. I mean, they have it all. They have the complete balance. They have the stud wide receiver. Kyle Shanahan does a fantastic job of calling plays for Matt Ryan. They have a good offensive line. The Green Bay Packers didn't even get 1 sack on Matt Ryan yesterday. So it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks, but I was surprised that the Patriots were only a 3-point favorite. I figured it would have been a lot more. Just given sort of their history, bias towards probably Brady and Belichick. I mean, you give Bill Belichick 2 weeks to get ready for anyone, and
he's studied.
Good, but so I mean, it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. But we'll save all that. I know. I'm excited. It's almost like we have all this buildup.
Right.
And it's like every single day we want to talk about it, but it's like we have 2 weeks. It's such a long time.
It is kind of like a long time.
When you're thinking about it every day, because I guess if you want to talk football, we have the Pro Bowl this weekend, but
oh yes,
I mean, big deal. We have the Pro Bowl. I'm one of the biggest Pro Bowl haters there is, but this year ought to be a little interesting. They're trying to change a few things up. They have like sort of like this little skills challenge thing. A dodgeball game. Maybe that
trying
ought
to
be
add to it a little bit.
Maybe that ought to be a little interesting. So maybe we'll preview that on the week, sort of when the weekends. But anyways, that's going to be it for the football segment. So the Patriots against the Falcons in Super Bowl 51 in Houston, Texas, 13 days from now. We'll take our first break. After the break, we're going to talk football just a little longer. The Colts have fired their GM, Ryan Grigson. What we think about that. And then we'll talk some basketball. On the anniversary, the 9th anniversary of Kobe Bryant's 81-point game.
It doesn't seem like that long ago.
It really, really doesn't, you know. But on the 9th anniversary of that 81-point game, the Lakers did the worst thing they have ever done in franchise history.
I know.
And it's like, you did it on probably one of the worst days, one of the best days in Laker history to do this. You
trumped it now.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that after the break at the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
So the Indianapolis Colts have decided to part ways and have fired general manager Ryan Grigson just 1 year after he signed a contract extension. He had 3 years left on his deal.
Right.
He and Chuck Pagano were really under the hot seat last year, and they both signed contract extensions. So Jim Irsay and the Colts are deciding to keep Chuck Pagano, but they did let go of Ryan Grigson. And to me, this is a fantastic move. I mean, Ryan Grigson, no disrespect to the guy, but he just was not a good general manager. Started in 2011, and everything was moving great. They were 11-5 in Andrew Luck's rookie season. They went to the playoffs. He was named the Executive of the Year. And after that, you're thinking, okay, this is fantastic. Everything's going good. We have a young franchise quarterback to build around, star in the making. Let's make some moves. Let's get some good, solid draft picks. And they did literally the exact opposite. Of all the people that Grigson drafted in 2013, so 4 years ago, not one of them is even on the roster. You're going to draft players 4 years ago, and that none of them are on the roster.
And keep any of them, right.
Not one
What's
of
the
them.
investment, exactly?
He traded a first-round pick to get Trent Richardson from Cleveland. We saw how that worked out. He's not on the roster anymore. He's not even in the league anymore. He's working for Alabama now.
Yeah,
that's simply like how. So basically, you wasted another
wasting.
First-round
I was
pick.
gonna say, yeah, you're just wasting
This
for fun.
team is the Cleveland Browns with Andrew Luck. Literally, I'm serious. Like it literally is. Like if you look at their roster, T.Y. Hilton's a decent wide receiver, but I feel like a lot of that is because of how good Andrew Luck is.
Okay, yeah.
I'm a big believer in your wide receiver is really only as good as your
quarterback. Yeah.
So I
that
feel
makes
like.
sense.
You have T.Y. Hilton. He's a good, solid wide receiver. Got good speed, good size. But I feel like a lot of that is in due part to Andrew Luck because of how good he is. This team went 8-8. Last year they were terrible because Andrew Luck was out all year. A couple of years before that, they've made some deep runs in the postseason, so they're doing okay. But I feel like it's simply just Andrew Luck and the Cleveland Browns. He literally just carries this team because of how good he is and how valuable he is. So to get rid of Ryan Grigson, good move for me. Jim Irsay did say that he has some candidates on his list. One of them is not Peyton Manning. There are rumors going back last couple of weeks about Peyton Manning maybe coming into this front office. But he's got to try and figure out something right away because the season might be over for the Colts, but it's really just heating up as far as offseason because you have You have the Combine coming up next month. You're only
There's a lot of work to do, yeah.
You're 2 months away from the NFL draft after that, so you got to get things going right away. So Jim Irsay can't really...
It's really not a lot of time, actually.
He can't really wait around. He's got to get someone into the front office, into that general manager, presidential role, whatever it may be, and get some good, solid football players on this team. Because right now, for me, it's just Andrew Luck and the Cleveland Browns. And that's not going anywhere. They're in such a weak division. There's no reason whatsoever that they shouldn't be winning the division. Houston's got a good defense, but with Brock Osweiler, they're terrible to me. I like what Tennessee's doing, especially since they're going to be having some more first-round picks next year from the LA Rams. So I really do like what Tennessee's doing. They're a good up-and-coming team. I feel like they could be that breakout team next year, kind of like the Raiders were this year. So, and then you have the Jacksonville Jaguars, who everyone thought would be decent this year, and won 3 games.
Quiet, real quiet.
I mean, there's definitely the opportunity there, and they need to get someone in there to get things going. So now we're going to switch over and talk about basketball. On the 9th anniversary of Kobe Bryant's 81-point game, he literally scored more points than the whole entire Lakers team did last night.
Oh.
Just think about that. Kobe scored 81 in one game. The Lakers as a team last night scored 73 against the hopeless Dallas Mavericks.
Aww.
Because
Derek came to work.
The Dallas Mavericks are just absolutely terrible. They lose by 49, 122
that's
73. The worst loss in franchise history.
Oh my gosh, yes.
By 49 points.
Yes.
And you
49
on the
full
anniversary
points
of Kobe's 81.
I know, the disrespect.
Literally, like
disrespect.
You were talking about, like, what do you think Kobe thinks about this?
I'm not okay. See, Kobe, I feel 2 ways. He either just fully does not care, like he's just so engrossed in his new baby and just is like, oh, of course, like, or he's also like, he could pull Michael Jordan. He can always come back. He could come back.
Kobe's
he
not
could come
back.
back. I mean, I don't care either way because I'm not a Laker fan, but
Kobe's not coming back. Whether it be
he still got it. He still got it.
Play, to be a general manager, to be
he
a
still
owner.
Got it.
Kobe's riding off into.
I know that everybody that is a Laker fan is praying that something happens.
To be honest,
like, do they watch the game still? Do Laker fans still? Do you guys still watch games? Do you guys still watch games?
I'm gonna play on the other side of the fence there. To be honest, though, the Lakers did lose by 49 last night. Luke Walton calls it frustrating. We didn't show up.
He doesn't know what happened.
It was an embarrassment. Okay, all that. But you know what? I'm kind of been impressed with what Walton's done with the Lakers.
Okay, yes, I like Luke. I like Luke Walton, and I'm happy for him here.
I'm rooting
for him. I'm rooting for him, and I'm glad that so far so good. I mean, they didn't have D'Angelo last night. Granted, he's out, kind of like nursing an injury. I think it's his MCL is sprained, something like that, strained a little bit like that. So I know that he's out as of right now. But I mean, it's always nice when the Lakers lose for me, because. But as far as the disrespect to Kobe, I mean, of all times to do that, poor guy.
And I said it was the 9-year anniversary. It's actually the 11. So maybe it is a little
even
longer, but
longer.
Still.
11 years ago.
So I have some of the stats here on this game.
All right.
So
notable.
Kobe's 81-point game, obviously against the Raptors, he lit up Jalen Rose. He shot 61%. He made 28 field goals, and he was 54% from behind 3.
Right. Oh.
The Lakers yesterday made 28 field goals.
You can't you can't win anything.
Kobe made literally the exact same
number
of field goals himself in that game than the Lakers did last night. They shot 14% from three-point range, and they shot 38% overall. The Lakers
38% overall.
The Lakers are now 16-32. They've lost 6 of their last 7. So I mean, that's pretty bad. But if you go back 7 games, they'd be 15-26. So even though that's not terrible, I've been kind of impressed with what Luke Walton's been doing.
No, I'm glad for Luke.
They have a good young team. You mentioned D'Angelo Russell, Brandon Ingram, Julius Randle.
Yeah.
They're not
Ingram
terrible.
came off, started last night at that point guard position. I think he only had I think overall last night they only had 10 assists. It
was just a terrible game. But I mean,
the odds were not in their favor.
I mean, I'd say them and really the Sixers have been the two teams that have really surprised me most in a positive way, of something that I literally did not expect. Coming from the two teams that had the number 1 and number 2 picks in the draft last year with the worst record. So, I mean, I guess it's not terrible, but
it's not terrible, but it's terrible.
Last night was pretty bad. We'll take our last break of the show. After the break, we'll just talk some quick trending stories. We have the Australian Open going on in Australia. It's been, well, obviously, but it's been pretty...
I wasn't going to say anything.
It's been pretty surprising. It seems like with me, with tennis, every time the tournament's on clay, which it is in Australia, things happen. You know, there's definitely some upsets, and we obviously will update you on the bracket because there's been some upsets. And then in the more unfortunate news, Kansas City Royals pitcher Yordano Ventura did pass away over the weekend in a car crash in the Dominican Republic. Kind of talk to you about what exactly happened and sort of recap his young career. We'll talk about that and more after the break at the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
So in some very unfortunate news, the Kansas City Royals lost a member of their organization over the weekend. It was 25-year-old pitcher Yordano Ventura, and quite honestly, to me, he was their best pitcher. Yes. So that makes it really that much worse for the organization as a whole. But he's obviously of Dominican Republic descent, so he's in the offseason right now. The pitchers and catchers don't report to spring training for another month, basically.
Right.
So he's back home in his native homeland. So early in the wee hours of Sunday morning, got into a car accident and pretty much died on the spot. So he's only 25 years old. He was a member of the team, member of their World Series team, and I obviously get flashbacks of Jose Fernandez of the Marlins, who died in the middle part of last year with the boating accident. And obviously now we know that there was definitely drugs involved and drinking involved in that aspect. We don't know anything about this one so far.
Right.
Except that
it's cause or anything.
Just a car accident, but it's definitely some very, very unfortunate news. Pauline and I were talking about it just briefly during the break, and I'm not sure how it's like in the Dominican Republic. I've, of course, never been there.
Right.
But if I can compare it to like Mexico, which I've gone before, and in basically like the part of Mexico in the city, not just the tourist parts, but it's basically a lot of bad driving there. A lot of people are really in a hurry to get everywhere. It's really compacted. There's cars left and right. A lot of the times they don't even have like the white or yellow lines in the road to sort of split up lanes. So I don't know how
the directions are a little bit different, right?
But if it's anything like Mexico, it's definitely a hard place to drive in. So.
Right, and especially if it's late at night or, early morning, late night, and it's darker. It's just really sad overall, that entire thing right there for him and like his team. And it's really sad because you're just going home to relax, enjoy your off season, just come back, time to go to work. So it is really sad.
Yeah, Ned Yost and the rest of the Royals organization, they had a statement. They said, obviously, our prayers go out to Yordano's family and his friends, his teammates, fans, and everybody throughout the baseball community. So everyone with our team and our organization is hurting deeply. This is certainly something that puts everything into a strong perspective. It's a reminder that nobody's guaranteed tomorrow. So that's what the Royals GM Dayton Moore said on a conference call. And, I mean, Ventura, just a young guy, only 25 years old.
Yeah.
Already, in my eyes, the best pitcher on the team. A team that's definitely trying to rebound after the season they had last year, defending their World Series title, and then they don't even make the playoffs the year after that. So Ventura will technically finish
a lot of promise too.
Will finish his baseball career with 38 wins, 31 losses, an ERA of 3.89. So not too terrible. A young guy who could definitely throw the heat. I remember he had a fastball that would reach over 100 miles an hour, which is kind of the norm for a lot of pitching now. It seems like everything's just speed related, but he was 6th in the Rookie of the Year voting in 2014, so a good young player who really had a bright future ahead of him, and now he's definitely going to be missed as a part of the Royals organization and as a part of the baseball family.
Community,
so we're going to transition over to end the show talking about some more positive news. We've got to get away from the bad stuff. And we're on with the good. And that's the Australian Open. The Australian Open currently going on. It will conclude this weekend in the men's and women's side. The first major Grand Slam of the season in the tennis world.
Kick it off. 2017.
We talked about it a little bit with how the clay comes into aspects. Obviously, the clay surface, totally different. You have the grass at Wimbledon, and you have the hard court with the U.S. Open. And then you have the clay here with us. Oh, no, this is Australia, so you don't have the clay. That's the French Open. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little confused here. It's a long morning, still kind of early for me. I had a really long weekend. But anyway, so we are at the Australian Open, which is still a hard surface. The clay is the French Open. So a lot of the times with the first major of the season, you have guys maybe coming in a little rusty, coming in a little unprepared, maybe dealing with a little bit of nagging injuries. And we haven't necessarily seen any of those specific things, but think about some of the people that are already out in the men's. You have number 1 overall seed Andy Murray. He lost in the 4th round.
Yes.
You have Novak Djokovic, who's dominated tennis the last basically 3-4 years. He's already out as well. So now you look at some of the favorites. You still have Roger Federer in there, who, in my eyes, greatest of all time. Seriously, I think the guy's fantastic. I don't even know how old he is. He's pushing 35, 36
he's pushing
years
it
old.
as
And
far
he's
as
still
age.
dominating. He's in the quarterfinals. You have Stan Wawrinka. You have Joe Wilfried Tsonga in there. You have Milos Raonic from Canada who's in there. It's going to be very, very interesting, and we'll obviously keep you updated as it goes on. Right now, they are in the quarterfinals. And then you look over to the women's side. Some more top seeds already falling. You have number 1 seed overall from Germany, Angelique Kerber. She is out. You still have the Williams sisters, both of them around, although they did pull out of the doubles tournament. They're focusing on the singles, so you have Venus. She's still alive. You have Serena at the number 2 seed. She's still alive, and they are in the quarterfinals as well. So how great would it be to see another Williams final?
I know.
Because they're in opposite sides of the bracket.
So it could happen.
Technically, it can happen. I don't know if it goes that far. I mean, I think Serena probably gets there. She probably wins it. I mean, I go with her every time, especially since Angelique Kerber is out. But, I mean, I don't think Venus really has it anymore.
Oh,
I hate to say it, but
I know.
It's always been that way. Venus started off great, and then once Serena basically reached her potential, she just dominated. She took a hiatus of years and is back just carrying women's tennis. And she's the biggest name out there. She's great for the sport. And then on the men's side, I want to say Roger Federer, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm pulling for him. Just given his legacy.
Just because I was going to say,
get one more kind of at the end of his career here because Murray
wrap it up on a solid. Yeah.
Murray dropped as well as Novak Djokovic dropped already. They're probably not going to do that in some of the other tournaments. So I'd love to see Roger get one more. You know what I mean? But I think Milos Raonic is definitely a really good player. He was in the final of a couple of Grand Slams last year. So he's got a really good shot. Joe Wilfried Tsonga is always competitive. Stan Wawrinka from Switzerland's always competitive. So we could have a little Swiss semifinal there if Federer and Wawrinka do advance. But we'll have to wait and see. Anyways, that's going to conclude the show for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Definitely your Monday. Try to make it a little brighter and a little better than what it probably is because most people Monday's not so great. But sort of in some breaking news is that Matt Ryan, who was elected to the Pro Bowl, obviously cannot be playing in it. So Redskins quarterback Kirk Cousins will be in the Pro Bowl instead of him.
Nice.
And a little bit of news there. Good to see Kirk Cousins in there, a guy who's going into his free agent period. Reports are maybe the 49ers might be interested. You think that's a good move? Would you like that, Pauline? I know you're a Niner fan.
I'll take it.
I mean, he would reunite with Kyle Shanahan, who's probably going to be the coach there after he's done with the Falcons in 2 weeks. So, I mean, Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator in Washington for the last couple of years before he moved on to Atlanta. So, could be interesting. I mean, not bad. And then Anthony Barr is going to replace Vic Beasley in the Pro Bowl as well. So, a pass rusher
that'll be nice
for a pass
for him.
rusher. So, that's the 6th Vikings player named to the Pro Bowl, which is kind of surprising to me. They started off 5-0, and then they really fell off from there. So, got a lot of Pro Bowlers in there, 6 of them. But that's going to conclude the show for today. Of course, my name is Ben.
I'm Pauline.
Pauline, you'll be back in the studio
tomorrow morning
to talk all things sports. I'll be back on Wednesday, and we will keep things going right here at the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. This is us signing off here on the Sports Podcast. Have a good day, and we will see you later.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.